Kalala Malak Yahweh wa Yahushai Bahashem Bracha Kodash. Double honors to the elders of GMS Ruwell. Blessings to those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing his word in all sincerity. With that being said, Shalom Israel Barakatah. Today's lesson, the bow and the arrow. Back then, they did not have those fancy words that we have here today, but they named things according to what they knew and resembled. They named those things according to what they knew back then and as to what they resembled. For example, when it comes to the scriptures, you will not find the word missile, and neither will you find the word silo. But when it comes to the scriptures, you will find the word arrow and the word bow. The arrow represents the missile, and the bow represents the silo. And the movie Broken Arrow with John Travolta and Christian Slater further proves that an arrow speaks of a missile. In the movie, John Travolta ended up stealing a nuclear weapon, and they called it a broken arrow. So they know. That is exactly what the kings of the Medes and the other nations shall bring forth in these end times unto modern-day Babylon the Great. They're nuclear arrows. With that being said, let's go over to the scripture of Jeremiah 51 and 11. Jeremiah 51 verse 11. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes for his devices against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, the vengeance of his temple. And the arrows represent the destructive missiles of the kings of the Medes, which are the Russians. Those are the kings of the Medes, the Russians, for his devices against Babylon. And those devices speak of those inbound nuclear warheads that will be launched from their respective silos of land, sea, and air. Modern day Babylon in these times is America. Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Right, the Russians are those modern day Medes that shall be stirred up to come up against modern day Babylon, which is America. And the Russians shall not care for or be concerned about silver and gold. Their only purpose shall be to burn her with fire. They will not delight in any form of monetary system, and neither shall they care about any further official bans of embargo or sanctions placed upon them. Their true purpose and motive shall be to burn Babylon the Great with fire. The Russians, along with its allies, shall continue to be stirred up to come up against Babylon the Great with their bows in that greater war to come. The bows are the silos. And this is all biblical prophecy. Their only purpose shall be to come up against Babylon the Great in that inevitable battle of Armageddon, in that inevitable World War III. Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 18. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children, right? Those detonations shall not care about nothing. It shall melt and destroy everything in their paths. When the bows of the land, sea, and air open, they shall launch the arrows of destruction. Those bows of the land, sea, and air, those are the silos. The silos are known as those bows that shall launch the missiles from those land silos and mounted vehicles. They shall also be launched from the ships and submarines of the sea and from the airplanes in flight. But with that being said, let's go over to Jeremiah 51 and verse 28. Jeremiah 51 verse 28, prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. The nation shall be prepared with the kings of the Medes to bring about that final destructive war. The Russians shall not be concerned or care about silver or gold. They shall not care about any silver or gold or any other kind of monetary system. They will not delight in any form of monetary system, and neither will they care about any official bans of embargo or sanctions being placed upon them. Their only outlook and priority shall be to come up against modern day Babylon the Great in an all-out war. The Russians shall revert back to that old Soviet Union mentality to come up against the West. And they shall not care about anything. That time is coming when the Russians shall revert back to that old Soviet Union mentality of war. The Russians, along with their allies, shall come up against Babylon the Great, which is America, with their bows in that greater war to come. And this is an inevitable prophecy of the Bible in these end times. Jeremiah 51 and verse 29, and the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. That's right, the Lord's purpose shall be to remove modern day Babylon from the power seat via the destructive arrows of the nations. The chess pieces are being set on the board as we speak. But in order for that destructive war to come, first must come that CHIP of Revelation 13 and 16. As soon as modern day Babylon the Great implements that MOTB, CHIP of Revelation 13 and 16, then that third world war cometh quickly. Once that CHIP is fully implemented, then that war to end all wars cometh quickly, in order to make the land of Babylon desolate without an inhabitant. 200 million missiles shall be sent over. Russia will strengthen their ties with the other nations and shall be a guard unto Iran and unto their other allies to come up against modern day Babylon the Great, which is America. The scriptures have said that they shall be a guard unto them. The Russians shall be a guard unto the Persians. Who are the Persians today? The Iranians. The Russians shall be a guard unto the Persians of today, which are the Iranians. Because that's what they want to do. They want to enter into Iran. And when that happens, Russia shall step in. Plus, the least of the flock shall draw out also the Americans into war. The Russians shall be a guard unto the Persians of today, which are the Iranians. And the least of the flock, those Israeli, shall draw out the Americans into war. The Holy Scriptures have said to warn them from me, in the scripture of Ezekiel 33 and 7. And that is exactly what we are doing, warning you of that greater war to come and of the evil MOTB, CHIP, that is to come. That mark is also a destructive one. Do not take it. And whosoever receives the MOTB in any part of the body, in their right hand, aka their power hand, forehead, or any other part of the body, shall receive the overall wrath of the Lord Yahweh Wa Yahushai. Remember that the reason I say in any other part of the body, because due to accidents, a lot of people do not have limbs. So it'll be fair to say that they will put it somewhere else, in other places of the body. But whosoever shall take it will be destroyed. Do not take it. First cometh the MOTB of deception, and then cometh World War III quickly, as it says in the scripture of Revelation 11 and 14. Revelation 6 and 14. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Back then, they did not have fancy words such as ICBMs or nuclear missiles to describe those destructive weapons of the nations. So they named them as arrows, according to the terminology of their time, or what was known in their time. The heaven departed as a scroll refers to the effect of a mushroom cloud after detonation. And this is the vivid vision that the Apostle John saw upon the island of Patmos, and what Isaiah saw as well. Since they did not have the fancy terminology of a mushroom cloud during their time, they named the destructive effect as a rolled up scroll. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Right, due to the detonations of these nuclear weapons. The Lord did say that he would shake the heavens and the earth in the scripture of Haggai 2 and 6. With that being said, let's go over to Revelation 6 and 15. Revelation 6 and 15. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. They shall all hide themselves in their luxurious underground cities, bomb shelters, or fallout shelters. And many shall also hide themselves in the caves of the mountains. A great, inevitable destruction is coming, so they shall hide themselves to fulfill the prophecy of Psalms 149, 7 through 8, to execute vengeance upon the heathen, which are the other nations, especially the nation of Edom, for what was done unto the children of Israel, which consists of so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. You are the 12 tribes of Israel. But with that being said, Kalalau Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash, double honors to the elders of Jemas and Ruel, blessings to those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing this word in all sincerity. And with that being said, Shalom Israel Barakatah, and to the Akwath who listen, Barakatah as well, Shalom.